Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Core studio. Welcome to the show. So we are turning for the final lap of spoiler season. Okay, the references to racing, they gotta stop at some point, but spoiler season's nearly over at this point, I believe. It's tomorrow, I think? I don't know. There's a lot going on. Lots of cards, lots of exciting and weird things, including rover blades? What? Like roller blades, I guess, but I don't know. They hover, I guess. I don't know. A 2/2 equipment vehicle with double strike. Wait, what is that? An equipment vehicle. Yeah, that's right. We have previously now creatures that can also be equipment, 3-configure, and now apparently vehicles that can be equipment. I don't believe we've seen something like this before, but again, there's been a lot of crazy things going on in Magic over the past 2 years, 3 years or so. So, yeah, I'll believe anything. Anyways, 2/2 equipment vehicle, double strike for 3 mana in total. It's got a crew cost of 2, so you can crew it up, but also you can equip to a creature and give that creature double strike by paying 4 to equip to a creature. So if you're confused by this, yeah, I don't blame you, because this is kind of interesting. I mean, just let's think about it logically from a lore perspective, all right? So these are basically like rollerblades that you can either put on someone and they get double strike, or you have someone get into them and drive them around. How does that work? I don't know. Magic. Anyways, yeah. Having yet another piece of equipment that can give double strike, like Fire Shrieker at the very least, right, is, I believe, cost 3 and equip 2. Is that correct on that one, or is it the reverse? I think it's cost 3, equip 2. This one costs 3, equips 4, but it does give you the option again for that crew 2. It can just be a creature if need be as a 2/2. So yeah, this could see play kind of alongside, well, Fire Shrieker, I guess. When it comes to like certain colors out there that don't have access to double strike, basically anything but, well, white and red, typically those are like the, hey, yeah, I've got effects that give double strike to creatures. The other colors, while they might have some creatures that do have double strike in them, typically they don't have ways to actually grant double strike outside of like equipment. So yeah, this could be another one to essentially throw into those decks if you've got a commander that maybe is like a Galta and it's like, yeah, it's a 2-shot KO with double strike, or sorry, 1-shot KO with double strike, 2-shot KO normally. It's like, yeah, you might as well just chuck another double strike thing in there. So yeah, it's a very interesting and weird card. Moving on, Bounce Off. Speaking of interesting and weird, an instant for a single blue mana, return our creature or vehicle to its owner's hand. So unsummon this, I mean, we've already gotten better versions of unsummon, right? Essentially, this is yet another better version of unsummon, literally just strictly better. It's the exact same thing, but you could also bounce a vehicle instead. So again, if a vehicle is not crewed, it is not a creature, but you can still bounce it with this. How much play will this see in Commander? Probably none, just like unsummon. So if you have unsummon in a deck, here's another one. Moving on. Crash and Burn, instant for 4 mana in red. Choose 1, destroy target vehicle, or Crash and Burn deals 6 damage to our creature or planeswalker. Definitely more of a limited card. I'm not really going to go any further into that because, yeah, it's very limited. You don't usually use 4 mana, destroy a vehicle, or take out a creature sometimes, or planeswalker sometimes spell. Okay, moving on. We've got Gastrol Thrill Roller, a 4/2 vehicle, trample, and haste for 3 mana in red. When this vehicle enters, it becomes an artifact creature until end of turn, so you can hastily swing right away, which is nice. It's got crew 2, though, for the turns that it's not already a creature. By paying 3 mana in total, you discard a card, return this card from your grave or the battlefield, a finality counter on it, activate only as a sorcery. Interesting. It can bring itself back, essentially, which is really cool, but only once, because, again, with the finality counter on it, essentially, unless you can get rid of that counter, if it's going to die, basically, it just gets exiled, essentially. So, yeah, I mean, there are other ways, essentially, around that, but for the most part, it is just a play it, swing. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, if it gets taken out, oh no, replay it. But yeah, it's a solid card. I mean, definitely for a vehicle deck. Maybe like a graveyard deck of some sort, or one that really cares about getting creatures out of the graveyard. There are certain benefits to that, of course, but yeah, it's a very interesting effect for sure. It's just, yeah, what kind of decks want it outside of vehicles? I'm not exactly sure. Moving on, we've got Maximum Overdrive, an instant for 2 mana in black. Put a counter target creature gains Death Touch and indestructible until end of turn. Interesting, a good way to protect a commander, a good way to protect a creature that you really care about, essentially, and also Death Touch is just a nice way to be like, nice. Basically, a good way to also block, essentially, anything and take them out, again, with that Death Touch. Yeah, and indestructibility, make sure that your creature's going to survive. When it comes to this kind of a card, though, there are kind of, I'm not going to say better versions of it, but there's, like, different versions of it. I mean, notably, there's, I believe, one that's just, like, yeah, indestructible and counter, but for, like, 1 mana. That being said, yeah, it is nice as well. And if you got a commander that maybe has trample as well, you can consider it too as a way to protect it, way to get damage through again with that death touch plus trample combination. It's quite nice. And yeah, the counter synergies could be utilized as well. Next up, we've got Sky Seer's Chariot, a 3/3 vehicle for 2 mana in white, flying as this vehicle enters. Choose a non-land card name. Activate abilities of source with a chosen name, cost 2 more activate, and it's got crew 2. So, yes, you could definitely use this as a vehicle card, of course, in a vehicle deck. Again, a 3/3 flyer for just 2 mana, not too bad. Crew 2, it's not too high of a crew cost. When it comes to kind of shutting something down, though, it's not completely shutting something down, but it is making it so that that ability costs 2 more to activate, which is quite nice. Ironically, I think, right, it says activate abilities. It doesn't, like, specify, like, non-mana activate abilities, right? So, like, if you you just said, like, Llanowar Elves, and someone had Llanowar Elves in play, they have to pay 2 to activate it, which they wouldn't then. But, yeah, if you are playing in a game of Commander, obviously is a good card to utilize against someone who has a Commander that has an activate ability that they really want to be able to activate, and by, you know, knowing that information ahead of time, if you play this early, you're like, okay, yeah, that player's got that commander in their command zone. Yeah, I choose whatever commander that is. I mean, Urza, whatever it is, you know, it'll cost you 7 now instead of 5. You're still going to go infinite and go crazy with it, but still. Yeah, it's a solid card, kind of like a hate bear vehicle in some kind of a way, but yeah, like more like a Staxy hate bear vehicle in a way, but not the, like the most Staxy of Staxy things. It just is like, somewhat annoying. Cool. Moving on. We got Spectacular Pile Up, a source for 5 mana in white. All creatures and vehicles lose indestructible until end of turn, and destroy all creatures and vehicles, cycling for 2. What was that one? Was it Hour of Devastation? I think it was named after the set that actually kind of removed indestructibility as well, but that one dealt damage. This one actually just wipes creatures out again, destroys them. So it says, hey, you know what? Take out that indestructibility, you're all getting taken out. And then there's some regeneration creatures over there just like, ha, I'm fine. Yeah, this also, again, takes out vehicles as well, even when they're not creatures, which is quite nice. It also has some amazing art. I really like that. It's really cool. But yeah, being able to just wipe out all creatures, even if they're indestructible, it's a good way to get around yeah, that annoying friend over there that has, you know, Heroic Intervention. Or I guess saying that if they Heroic Intervention in response to this, they'd gain it, so never mind. But yeah, if they've got commanders that, you know, are indestructible, or they just, you know, like to have indestructible things out, cool, you know, destroy all those things. It's kind of like a not guaranteed Wrath of God, but a Wrath of God that, you know, usually can get rid of some of the things that are problematic, and also vehicles too. You can also cycle it away, though, in case you don't need it, so that is nice. That flexibility is huge. And yet another card, I keep saying this, but Fluctuator.deck, we are getting there. Again, all I want are just cycling cards that cost exactly 2. 1 or 2, but you usually don't get the 1, right? So cycling for 2, perfect. All right, let's get that cycling deck going. Just cycle your entire deck. Why not? But a good board wipe for sure. Next up, we've got Stampeding Scurryfoot. Look how cute. A 1/1 mouse for a single green mana. Exhaust for 4 mana. Put a counter on this creature. Create a 3/3 green elfin creature token. Interesting for sure. Low to the ground creature. So like if you have like a low to the ground creatures build, yeah, it's nice because then you can actually create, you know, a 3/3 elephant, you know, later on. We just have some extra mana lying around. You don't really care too much about that counter. It's an ability you can only activate once unless you've got like blink effects too. But yeah, maybe if you got like a populate deck, getting like an elephant out there is not the worst thing. Overall though, it's probably not going to see a lot of play outside of like mouse tribal if that's a thing. But yeah, interesting for sure. And then finally, we've got, not finally, we've got more. Wretched Doll. I forgot we had 2 more, I think. 3/1 artifact creature toy for 2 mana in black. Pay a single black mana, tap, surveil 1. It's creepy, cool art, I guess. Outside of that, I don't see this seeing too much play. If that surveil was free, I mean, maybe like that one starfish or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, that evil starfish. It could see play like that. But yeah, because you have to pay for that surveil activation, it's probably not going to see too much play, I wouldn't imagine. Even though it does have 3 power, which is quite nice. It's low to the ground. Toy tribal, if that's a thing, sure. But outside of that, probably not. Moving on. Finally, here we go. Salvation Engine. My goodness. 6/10 vehicle for 5 mana in white. Other artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. Whenever this vehicle attacks, turn to 1 target artifact card you can grab the battlefield. Crew 6. So, previously, you know, I have said that Crew 3 is like kind of where it starts getting a little expensive to crew. Crew 6 is an absurd amount. I mean, it's a lot, but again, the payoff is absolutely massive. So, of course, I mean, you can utilize like, you know, tiny artifact creatures, or just regular creatures, I should say, to crew this up. And of course, your artifact creatures do get pumped, so do keep that in mind. So yeah, the kind of deck that you're probably playing this in is like artifact creature, go wide. What's the enchantment? I can't remember the enchantment that gives +2/+2. Someone in the comments below help me out. Like Tempered Steel. There we go. Got it. Okay, you probably got there before I did. But Tempered Steel. Like that kind of a deck, essentially, where you're going wide with a bunch of artifact creatures and you're pumping a lot. Again, +2/+2 just on this is very nice. That's just, it doesn't have to be a creature actually to give that effect. Again, just as an artifact in play, it just gives that effect perpetually, which is lovely. So yeah, of course, if you got, again, like, say, 2 servos in play or whatnot, you can actually just tap those, crew this, and then attack, and then bring back an artifact card from graveyard to the battlefield. That is a huge reanimation effect. This thing is probably pretty beefy. I mean, pretty beefy. It's probably beefy enough to survive in combat again, having 10 total toughness, which is massive. You're not really gaining, again, on the actual power when you are swinging with it, of course, because that crew 6, essentially. That being said, yeah, it's still nice to have a 6/10 attacker and be like, oh yeah, let's bring back this massive artifact. So when it comes to this kind of a card, I mean, I would say like artifact recursion, just artifact go wide strategy, artifact creature strategy. This can be a slam dunk in those decks, most definitely. It can have some really big swingy plays, absolutely. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. As always, comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.